What a fun Warrior game, though, last night.
Well,
kind of a nice palate cleanser heading into the weekend.
Can I give everybody one positive to a 3-hour and 1-minute basketball game? I think I've shared this before. There's one problem with Warrior basketball. It's that the game started 7 o'clock, and therefore the arc of when a game, for me, this is just my personal house, when a game is coming down the stretch, fourth quarter, tight game, a lot of Warrior games are. We're going back and forth. It's also bedtime for my 8-year-old. So I have a choice. Do I let him stay up and then risk him not getting enough sleep? But I also want him to watch Warrior basketball. He loves it. I want him to have that. Or do I go in and get him to bed and miss the most important part of the basketball game? Well, last night I got to split the difference. He watched the Warriors start to come back a little bit. Timeout on the floor. I think the Warriors were down by about 6. I'm like, all right, buddy, you've been under the weather. Get your tuchus into that bed. We're done. And we go in there, and what often happens is I, just hang out with him a little bit, and sometimes Dad falls asleep too, right?
Yeah,
you can't lay down in the dark, right, Spadone? You know. Dibs, you know.
Yeah.
You lay down with a kid and turn the lights off. See you later, dude. I'll see you in the morning.
I got no room in the crib right now, so it's a lay down, and I'm out. And bedtime for us these days is about 7 o'clock, so last night was perfect. It was lay down the baby, and you put on the monitor, and you hope you don't get a lot of crying. We got about 6 minutes of crying, so I was able to lock in on that game.
But it was perfect for me because I poked my eyes back open, and I'm like, all right, little man is down. I got to go find out the answer. Did the Warriors win or lose?
Right.
And I come out, the game was still going. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, it's not over yet. This thing is still going. And I think the Warriors were up 2 with about 2 minutes to go, and we buckled up. And even that 2 minutes took about, hour 45.
Right.
It was ridiculous how long it took for that thing to come down the stretch. But you had what felt like 3 buzzer beaters. Klay Thompson, I'm like that. And then Memphis gets the beautiful dish from Ja and the dunk to tie it up, only to then have Jordan Poole show what I felt made him like a teenager. Dude, you're like raising a teenager, Jordan. You drive me nuts.
That's not bad.
And then you drive me nuts again, and I really want to strangle you, and I want to give up on you. And then you put the game winner in the bucket.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to hug you and love you again.
DiVincenzo with the great patience on the inbound.
Good player.
And another great play design from Steve Kerr. We talk about Kyle Shanahan all the time about his laminated play sheet, but Steve Kerr on his inbound plays, fantastic, because that was a classic fourth option, George Kittle, juggle down the middle kind of play.
Right.
It's like, no, and then Jordan Poole just pop free. And shout out Memphis for being so wildly undisciplined.
Well, and just for being so wildly annoying. This is my larger Warrior take. That's a good, it's a positive one. So I'm driving around a little bit yesterday, doing all kinds of things, trying to get everything going, get everything set with the family. And I caught a little bit of you and Kyle. And I heard panic meter. And Kyle goes, now I know Mark threw it away. He threw his panic meter away.
Yeah.
Kyle's like, not me. And you were like, yeah, not me.
Not
you got
me.
a panic meter.
Yeah.
Well, here's why I don't have a panic meter anymore. All we really want to know, Warriors, is are you going to show up when it matters? They still sit here today, I think, a game and a half out of the 5 seed.
Right.
The game out, they're fine. But
also a game and a half out of the 12.
Absolutely
and that's
true.
What we talked about yesterday.
So it's a log jam.
Yeah.
And do you trust that the Warriors will pop out of the other side of the log jam? I do. But what we really want to know is, are you going to be there when it matters? And I think it's important to note when the Warriors do show up. I know everyone's confused by this team right now. Oh, gosh, I heard Anthony Slater yesterday be like, I'd never bet on a Warrior game. How the hell do we know what this team's going to do night to night? They sit everybody, and then they win. Then everybody's back, and they lose. And then people get sick 4 minutes before tip. It's just weird stuff going on all the time. Absolutely true. But what happens when they play Memphis?
They win. They show up, and they win.
What happens when they play Boston? They show up.
Well, they don't always win.
They didn't win, but they show up.
They show up.
It tells me that they are still having as bad as this is in late January, they're still having problems getting motivated when an Orlando is on the schedule. But when something's in front of them that they know is a challenge and they really want to get up for it, they play well, which suggests that that's what they would do, I don't know, in the playoffs.
It suggests it, but whether or not you can do it 16 times is a whole different story in terms of what your journey would be. And right now you would need to do it 18 times because you're in the play-in. You would need to win 2 play-ins and then 16 playoff games in order to get 18 wins. You'd be the first NBA champion, by the way, to win 18 games in a postseason and get the victory. So I look at what they've done and what they did last night. Nice win. Great win. Gutsy. You got up for Memphis. But what happens when you get into a series with a Memphis? And I don't know if Memphis is actually the comp because it feels like they have their number. Memphis has had no answer for Golden State. But if you play another one of these good teams in the West, can you really throw the switch 4 times in a 7-game series? I don't know.